ain't I a woman? This powerful question reverberates through history, embodying the fierce spirit of Sojourner Truth. In a time when women's voices were silenced, Truth stood up against oppression with clarity that demanded attention. Her words were a declaration of identity and resilience. The late 19th century was entrenched in rigid societal norms. Women were confined to the domestic sphere, their aspirations stifled by patriarchal expectations. Concurrently, slavery persisted, denying millions their humanity. African American women faced a dual burden, marginalized for both race and gender. Yet, the seeds of change were being sown. In this climate of inequality, Sojourner Truth emerged, a beacon of hope. Born Isabella Baumfree in 1797, she endured the harsh realities of slavery. Her journey to freedom began when she escaped with her infant daughter, navigating treacherous paths to claim a life free from chains. But freedom was not enough. Truth's transformation into an outspoken advocate began as she realized the intersecting struggles of women and African Americans. Her name, Sojourner Truth, represented her mission to speak about the injustices she witnessed. A powerful orator, Truth wielded her voice as her most formidable weapon, challenging societal norms that sought to silence her. As she traveled, Truth uncovered the anguish and anger of countless women whose rights were ignored. Her eloquence shattered misconceptions, arguing for the equal rights of all. At the 1851 Women's Rights Convention in Akron, Ohio, Truth delivered one of her most impactful speeches. Boldly confronting women's oppression, she linked her experiences as a black woman with the broader struggle for women's rights. Her declaration, "Ain't I a woman?" captured the essence of her plea, demanding recognition for women like her who bore the burdens of race and gender. Truth's call for equality was for every marginalized voice seeking justice. Her powerful oratory left a mark that resonates through generations, echoing in contemporary discussions about gender and racial equality. Sojourner Truth's legacy is not merely a chapter in history, it is a continuous thread in the tapestry of social justice. Reflecting on her life invites us to consider our roles in advocating for equality today. Are we willing to raise our voices in pursuit of truth and justice, just as she did? Born into slavery in 1797 in New York, Sojourner Truth, originally named Isabella Baumfree, emerged into a world that sought to silence her. Her formative years were marked by hardship, witnessing the brutality of slavery. Sold multiple times, each transaction stripped away her identity. Yet, within her, the fire of resistance flickered. In 1826, Truth escaped. With unwavering determination, she traversed perilous landscapes, securing her liberty. Embracing her name, she began to travel across the U.S., speaking against slavery and advocating for women. Her voice pierced the hearts of listeners, offering a glimpse into America, a nation grappling with its conscience. Picture the scene, a bustling marketplace in a small town, where whispers of abolition were a dangerous undercurrent. Truth stood before a crowd, her tall frame exuding strength as she recounted her journey. The sun hung low on the horizon, casting hues of orange and pink, signaling the end of a long day, yet the struggle for justice was far from over. Her voice rose above the murmurs, a clarion call echoing through the air. "I am a woman," she would proclaim, challenging the audience to see her humanity. At the 1851 Women's Rights Convention, Truth delivered her iconic speech, "Ain't I a woman?" Standing before a skeptical audience, she recounted her struggles and the labor she bore. "I have plowed and planted, and gathered into barns, and no man could head me," she declared, asserting her strength and resilience. The atmosphere crackled with tension, the air thick with unspoken doubts and fears. Truth illuminated the intersectionality of oppression, drawing connections between sexism and racism long before such terms entered the social justice lexicon. In that moment, the atmosphere shifted. The crowd, initially hesitant, began to lean in. Her words took on a weight, resonating with women who, despite their differences, felt the ache of shared struggle. Truth articulated their collective pain, expanding the conversation about women's rights to include those who had been historically marginalized. In a society where the voices of black women were often drowned out, her words rang clear, a battle cry for acknowledgement and respect. Truth's message transcended race and gender, inviting all to join the struggle for equality. She emphasized that the fight for women's rights was indivisibly linked to the fight against slavery. Her vision was radical. She envisioned a world where justice reigns, where worth is not determined by skin color or gender. The urgency of her message was clear, a plea for allies in a time of division and strife. "Nobody ever helps me into carriages or over mud puddles, or gives me any best place," she would assert, dismantling the notion that women, especially black women, were weak or in need of saving. As she traveled extensively, advocating for abolition, women's rights, and prison reform, Truth encountered a myriad of views. Collaborating with figures like Frederick Douglass and Elizabeth Cady Stanton, she transformed sparks of resistance into a roaring fire. Together, they formed an alliance that stirred hearts across the nation. Facing hostility and ridicule, her unwavering spirit became a beacon of hope. One cannot overlook the courage it took to speak out in an era rife with danger. Truth traversed the northern states, often addressing hostile crowds that viewed her with skepticism. Yet, her voice, raw, authentic, relentless, did not shy away from confrontation. She challenged her audience, not only to listen but to feel the urgency of the moment. Each speech was a thread, weaving her narrative into the broader fabric of the abolitionist movement. And so, she continued to speak, her presence growing more formidable with every engagement. As the Civil War erupted, Truth's activism evolved. She fervently advocated for the enlistment of black soldiers, believing their participation would reshape the narrative of race in America. With unwavering resolve, she implored communities to see the potential of black men in combat, arguing that their contributions were essential for the Union's victory and the future of a free nation. "It is time for us to rise up and be counted," she urged, igniting a sense of pride and responsibility among her listeners. Her heart beat in sync with the rhythms of a nation at war, echoing the call for liberty and justice. Sojourner Truth's bold legacy endured beyond her lifetime, inspiring generations. She proved that a single voice could resonate across time. Her life, a testament to the power of authenticity and the relentless pursuit of justice, became the blueprint for future activists. In the words of Truth, the truth is powerful, and it prevails. Her extraordinary journey calls us to carry forth that truth today. But it was not just her words that defined her legacy, it was the way she lived them. Truth did not confine her activism solely to women's rights. She was a staunch abolitionist, tirelessly advocating for the end of slavery. She traveled from town to town, often walking for hours, determined to spread her message. In intimate settings, she shared her personal story, recounting the loss of her children due to the brutality of slavery. This raw vulnerability connected her to the hearts of those who listened, allowing them to glimpse the human cost of oppression. Her journey through 19th-century America exemplified the power of authenticity and fearlessness. In an era when women were often relegated to the background, she stood center stage, challenging societal norms. Her truth-telling was raw and unflinching, articulating the unique struggles faced by black women. This struggle, she often proclaimed, was not just about freedom but about dignity and respect. Yet, even amid triumphs, Truth faced fierce opposition. Critics attempted to delegitimize her voice, branding her as too radical, too abrasive. Yet, she pressed on. The relentless pursuit of justice was her calling, and she refused to shy away from discomfort. Speaking to hostile audiences ignited a fire in those who heard her words. Each encounter fortified her belief that change was attainable, even in the face of overwhelming adversity. As the war drew to a close and the nation reeled from its scars, Truth remained a staunch advocate for civil rights. With the passage of the 13th Amendment in 1865, which abolished slavery, many celebrated, but Truth understood that the struggle was far from over. Emancipation had come, yet the very essence of freedom remained elusive. And so, she continued her fight, demanding not just freedom but equality. In the years following the war, Truth turned her attention to the suffrage movement. She recognized that voting rights were essential to true equality. Her participation in the National Woman Suffrage Association in the 1860s underscored her belief that women, regardless of race, deserved a voice in shaping their destinies. Each speech was a call to action, a challenge to those who would overlook the intersection of race and gender in their fight for rights. As time marched on, the struggle's truth faced morphed but did not diminish. She witnessed the rise of Jim Crow laws that sought to disenfranchise black citizens, and her heart ached for the generation that would follow. Yet, she remained a steadfast voice, using her platform to advocate for the next wave of civil rights activists. Through her tenacity, she carved a pathway for those who would come after her, reminding us all that the journey for justice is ongoing. Sojourner Truth's voice is not a relic of the past, but a vibrant echo that resonates in the hearts of those fighting for justice today. Her legacy reminds us that strength originates from personal struggle. Through her eloquent speeches and fearless activism, she carved a space for women in the civil rights movement, leaving a reservoir of wisdom that transcends her era. Sojourner Truth's influence, seen in contemporary movements for women's rights and racial equality, continues to inspire activists, urging them to recognize the injustices within their communities and combat them. The essence of her fight for justice resonates in the chants for equality today. Her life exemplifies that every person possesses the power to enact change. Her fierce determination invites us to examine our beliefs and challenge norms. Each action we take paves the way for future generations, continuing the timeline of truth and justice she boldly embodied. In the face of adversity, her legacy stands tall, a rallying cry for a future defined not by inequality, but by justice for all. Reflecting on the indomitable spirit of Sojourner Truth, we must ask ourselves, what legacy will we leave behind? Will we choose silence, or will we rise and be heard?